Mm. All right. All right. I mean, shit. Now that I know, you should hit it perfectly. So, let's cheat myself right there. I don't necessarily want it to. All right, cool. No, that's probably asking for trouble right there. Yeah, that's good. That's if we get it. All right, man. Let's stop. So I really wonder what the market really wants to do. I, it's been kind of playing at this trend line. You can see that the bears try to break below it. The bulls reclaim price above it. I don't know what the heck they want to do with this trend line right here. But I'm gonna buy at this trend line, and we'll see if we can get price to kind of continue up here. It should. Uh, we have a lot of engineered liquidity. We have a lot of sellers aggressively trying to sell and break below this trend line. They were able to break it, but price double bottom at these lows, and it found its way back above this trend line. And now the bears are aggressively trying to break back below the trend line. If the bears are successful, I mean, we can see a follow through down if they're successful, but this is not a bear market. So, uh, I would give this maybe a 20% to 25% chance that the bears are successful here, but there's a lot of engineered liquidity, a lot of it, a lot. We have in this one little area, we have the bears trying and trying and trying and trying and trying. And what's being generated above these highs are their buy stops, the fuel that's going to be used to push this thing higher. So the bears better be successful here because their feelings are going to be hurt if they're not successful. Feelings, bear feelings will be hurt. I got a good trade last night on gold, or this morning. I was able to capitalize on this short opportunity right here and brought the account up to 3,400. Uh, Gold right now is kind of in the same situation as the ES. It's trading in this range. It looks like the bulls want to regain control here, but the overall trend for gold is to the downside, at least this late. Actually, let me rephrase that. The overall trend is bullish. The overall trend is bullish. Is this with this, I'll leave that trend line there just in case, but the overall trend right now on gold is bullish, but this leg is bearish. This is a bearish leg. So and there we go. Actually, I don't need this much risk on this play. It's kind of just somewhere right there. I don't need that much risk. The bulls need to be defend this trend line right here. As long as that trend line is defended, you don't necessarily need a wide stop. And there we go. A beautiful trade. Beautiful trade. That's what the fuck we're talking about, baby. That's what we're talking about. Using market structure, playing off that trend line, recognizing that the bears right now are being very aggressive, but there's no follow through. It's an easy trade. That's definitely an easy trade. No, that's not how I trade. No. So, young millionaire, the one thing that I've come to learn is I don't move. So if I were to move my stop to break even, and I'll probably start implementing this now that I trade gold and ES now. So this is something that maybe I will start to implement. But in my experience, you put your stop at break even, price likes to come back to that area because it's an easy liquidity hit for the market. That's why I don't move my stop to break even until I at least get that first target hit. Or at least that's what I'm going to start doing. But this thing can easily come back and take and touch my break even. We haven't technically broken out yet. We did have a move to the upside, but we still haven't broken above that high. So price can come back and tag my break even a couple of more times. It may even try to break below that trend line again, but I just come to the realization that it's just easier on the mind to just let the trade play out. I've already put the contract on the chart. I'm willing to lose if I'm wrong. My risk is defined. I'm okay with it. Yeah, it could be. You just watching this, Santiago? Yeah, we do got FOMC tomorrow. We do have FOMC. All right, so we got 5 minutes into the algo, the 9 o'clock algo. 5 minutes. It says you don't have any trades. We'll see what happens here. But yeah, I like to get that first target hit first. I don't want to get taken out at break even. But this would have been a nice scalp though. A nice what is that? 7.7 points right there. Nice 7 points. Would have been a nice scalp. And this is why. I think this is a good example. But based on how all the EMAs are lining up, the short, medium, and long-term EMA right now is looking like, or it appears to be, let me clear up my language. It appears to be that, at least for right now, all the EMAs are sloping to the upside. So that kind of tells me that the market could be making a shift to the upside. We have VWAP sloping up, and this is the weekly VWAP. That's weekly VWAP, short, medium term sloping to the upside. Price is right there. I mean, that the long-term EMA right here, the 200 EMA. I mean, it is in the middle. If price can get well, that's exactly what I'm talking about right there. If price can do this, then, and you see this, and young millionaire, this is exactly what I'm talking about. That's exactly what the hell I'm talking about. That thing would have tagged me out. And then it would have had this liquidity push. I think that was a great learnable moment. Don't ever put your stop at break even until your first target, at least your first target gets hit, because this right here is a great liquidity pool for the market. You see how as soon as it touched it, we have that move higher. That's a great area for easy liquidity for the market. So because I understand that, I never move my stop up to break even. Never. Yeah. And you know, that's the beautiful thing about this market, man. My way is not 100% right. Everybody can skin the cat the way that they want to in this market. That's what's beautiful about it. You can make money doing your doing whatever fits your personality. The only thing that is consistent with profitable traders is their risk management and their mindset. That's the only thing that you kind of have to craft, and that has to be universal with the market. You need to accept when you're wrong, and you need to execute when you see your setup. A lot of people get paralysis or analysis paralysis. Uh, they see they set up, but due to fear of loss, they don't take it. And once they see their play or their thesis play out, they start to chase, and then they get a loss because the market, you got three big engulfing candles and you're chasing it higher. And then as soon as you get in long, that's when it wants to pull back. So, yeah, but I think that's a very, a great learnable moment right there. Mm. He says when you get a new account, you're going to test ES. ES is definitely, I will say that ES is definitely a great instrument when you have the right mindset. You have to be patient because you cannot trade the middle whatsoever. And and this is what I mean by the middle. You have resistance, you have support, and then you have the price action that happens in between. And I know that you already know this, Investor Z, but you know, for those that are not familiar with what I'm talking about, this right here is the middle. You don't ever trade in the middle with ES. You wait for price to pull back to the edges. Now, there are situations where the market will do stuff like this, and you just have to just pay attention to your support, your support trend lines, your resistance trend lines, your triangles, circles, and your squares, and you will make money on the ES. Shit, this right here is a light position. 3 mini contracts on the ES right now, that's a light position. Real ES traders are in this thing with 100 lots, 50 lots, 20 lots, 10 lots. That's a light position right now. You can make a lot of money. I've made more money on an ES trade than I've ever made on a Nasdaq trade. I want that to sink in. I made in one trade, I made 15K with 15 ES contracts trading the EA. I have not had a 15K trade. I've made 20K in a day with Nasdaq, but not necessarily in one trade. I made 15K in one trade on the ES. It's just that it's fucking boring. So you gotta have your mindset gotta be right. It just gotta be right. You gotta want the delayed gratification because that's what you're gonna get with the ES. She's just not gonna move the way the Nasdaq moves, and that's a good and bad thing. It's good and bad. Uh, All right, so Young Millionaire says stay away from top one futures. He opened one. He only passed 25K. I got for 50% off when. Well, I will say this about top one. I've seen a lot of people um, not necessarily say anything negative, but I've seen some practices that kind of reminds me of You Profit with the changing the rules. So they changed the rule, and then instead of having the rule apply to traders moving forward, they want to use that rule when during the time when the rules wasn't active. And You Profit also did that, and that's how they were denying payouts because their firm was about to become insolvent because they made their evals too easy. They were paying out more than they were taking in, and they just used that tactics to deny payouts. Honestly, when I see stuff like that, my initial response is to throw up my deuces and to not conduct business with that firm again. I've already expressed that these new firms that are being thrown up by a couple of guys is probably not the best place that you should put your sensitive information at. We already seen Top Step getting hit with a phishing attack, and a lot of people was affected by that attack. Now, if Top Step is getting affected like that, you have to kind of say, I don't think a group of guys has my sensitive data in or the safety of my sensitive data, my PII. That's not something that they're focusing on. The only thing they're focusing on is to get as much money from as much people as possible. We're not going to sit here and say that this is not a business that it benefits off of the failure of a lot of people. I've already shared the story of his name is BPC Trader, I believe. He was denied a payout because he broke, I believe, you're not supposed to have trades opened in less than 30 seconds or whatever the rule was. Yeah, he broke the rule, but not only did they deny his payout, they took away the profits that he made. And they did that because they knew that it was going to send him on tilt. And that's exactly what it did. He blew up the accounts because of it. They took away his work. It's one thing to deny the payout. I don't even think Apex has done that. I don't think Apex has taken away the profits. If you broke a rule, they just deny the payout. They actually took away his profits. And that's crazy. That's crazy to think about. That's crazy. I won't be, me personally, I'm going to stick to the prop firms that has an established track record. Top Step, My Funded Futures, Apex, and Take Profit Trader. The firms that have been in this game and have a track record of payouts, good business practice, and no security breaches, and it's not just a bunch of guys that threw up a prop firm. Those are the prop firms that I would recommend, and those are the prop firms that I'm sticking with. I did try the Blue Sky. Blue Sky is also a good one. I just don't care for the way that they handle live traders. That's just the only thing that I didn't particularly care for. But I did enjoy trading with that firm. The funded futures or the futures desk, Alfred, he trades that. He says that he's enjoying the experience. I won't be personally getting an account with them. It's very similar to Blue Sky, if not the same exact thing. And if I'm going to buy the futures desk account, I might as well get a Blue Sky account. I mean, it's the same fucking thing. It's the same rules. They have the same structure, same payout structure, everything. The only difference is that the futures desk allows you to customize your daily profits, how many contracts you can trade, and all that. I mean, that's the only difference, the customization aspect, but everything else is the same. So those are the firms that I recommend. And those are the firms that I use. I don't go out and use these third party unestablished firms. That's just my opinion. Yeah, that's true. I've heard that too about Apex. I've heard that too about Apex. What I will say is that until I experience something like that, then I'm gonna take that with a grain of salt. I know that trading is an emotional business. I know that uh, people will look for ways to be a victim because for whatever reason, being a victim is addictive. You get so much attention, you get everybody to cater to your needs, and that's why you see people always constantly find themselves being a victim. But we all know that people take advantage of Apex system. I mean, obviously the Apex is there to take advantage of us, and so it's only right for traders to find systems to take advantage of them. But at the end of the day, we have to remember that if Apex becomes insolvent, then there is no more payouts for nobody. We have to remember that these firms have to have money to pay out their traders. Now, if they adopt malicious practices, then I wouldn't recommend doing business with them. But if it's fair, if all they're asking for a trade plan and we don't like it, it's fair. It's fair. Now, like I said, I haven't experienced this, so I'm speaking from a perspective of if they're just asking you for a trade plan and you can provide a trade plan, then it should be no issue. It shouldn't be. I know it's annoying and it's intrusive, but all right, if you want a trade plan, well, I just buy pullbacks. I saw that the market was pulling back into this area where market participants have already participated at, and I took the trade. I don't know the extent of how much they want with the trade plan, but I'm pretty sure because you only hear this from only certain people that this is probably not a widespread thing. This is probably people that may have been flagged by an automated system of people that probably gamble. I mean, this is Apex. This is a casino. I mean, let's just be completely honest here. All the gamblers are here at Apex. Let's just be honest. They give you 20 million contracts to trade. And so I'm pretty sure the people that are being asked this has probably been flagged by their automated system. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure if I traded the way that I was trading, I would have gotten flagged too. I wouldn't have liked it, but I would have understood it. If I'm just every time I lose, I throw in 10 million contracts to get my money back. I mean, I understand it. So, but at the end of the day, you don't have to do business with Apex. You can do business with your favorite firm. There's firms that don't ask you like Top Step or My Funded Futures but I will tell you this, on the live side of My Funded Futures, they do ask. I had an exit. I've already shared that I had an exit interview when I blew my live account, and I had to explain to them what my trade plan was, what did I learn while being a live trader, and what I can do, and how and what was the reason why I blew the account, and what are ways that I had to improve. I had to actually write a business professional level email response to them because they were saying that because they allocated real funds for me to trade, that me being allowed to go back to being a sim funded trader would have been up to their discretion. Depending on how I responded to that email, I wouldn't have been able to even trade with My Funded Futures at all. they restricted my account so I can only buy starter accounts. I can't even buy expert accounts even if I wanted to. So that is not a practice just with Apex. My fund of futures has also did it. I mean, I'm telling you, the sim funded and live funded are like night and day, literally night and day. All right, let's get that first target, baby. Let's get that first target, baby. Of course, of course, of course. And I appreciate that, Carlos. Yeah. Mm. No, that's Apex is the only prop firm I haven't gotten a payout with that I've traded with. This is why I'm focusing mostly on Apex, because Apex need to pay what they freaking owe. It's the only one I haven't received a payout from yet. There we go. First target, baby. Now we can move that. Now we can move that up. And now we can move it up to break even +1. Because if it comes back, then I'm wrong. I could start trail. Actually, this is what I'll start doing. I guess I could trail this as it goes up, but honestly, I don't even care to do that. So I'm just gonna leave it back. I don't even care to do that. And yes, this is a 300K account. That's the only account that I get with Apex. The only account, and I only purchase Apex accounts when they're 90% off, and they're giving away these accounts for $18. I have like 9 of these damn things, 9 of them. And I will say, what the data that I've collected from these accounts with my trading style is, I like to over leverage, like randomly over leverage when I get close to the target. And that's usually when I blow up the accounts, despite the fact that they have a 30% consistency rule when you become funded. So even if I have 5K, 6K days when I'm funded, if I have a 5K day, that means I need to consistently have 5K days. So that means that at a bare minimum, I need to be able to make, to achieve the goal that I want to achieve, I need to make at least $1,800 a day, which is achievable. If I can get into the habit of making $1,800 a day until I get to the 20K mark, that once I get into the PA, this habit will already be instilled. But for whatever reason, on my tilt days, all logic goes out the window as usual. I'm not adhering to none of Apex's rules, which I'm pretty sure they know that. If you're a tilt, you're not going to care. And even though it doesn't make sense, I'll keep trading until I blow the damn account. And even though it doesn't make sense. So, I'm at this point, what I'm doing is conditioning myself to trade the Apex PA account through these evals. I do have mishaps where I blow the account up for no reason. Like I was on my 6th day, I was up 15K, and for whatever reason, I was up 3K on the day. I should have closed out the account, because if I lost that 3K, I would have only had 3K left to make it back. And in less than a session, I blew up 6 days of work, of consistent work. And not gonna lie, that kind of that really did kind of stop me. Not necessarily in confidence, but just reevaluating my behavior, if that makes sense. Because I literally traded in a moment of an impulse because I felt that, man, I'm only up 3K. I want more. I want a 10K day because I know I'm capable of a 10K day. I know I am. We've had 10K days plenty of times on this stream. And for whatever reason in that moment, I was like, man, I'm so close to the goal. Let me just get to the finish line. Let me break the system that I got here, that got me here. And it's just let me just make this extra money so we can just be done. And I agreed to that impulse. And I lost that account. Lost it. And then I went on tilt afterwards. I threw a tantrum after it was me, the one that broke my rule. And I threw a tantrum afterwards and just started going tilt in my other accounts. So I took my anger out on my accounts, basically. So I will say that trading these Apex accounts has forced me to confront certain demons that I don't have to confront in accounts that does not punish me for not taking profits or losing profits. I will say that these accounts have served that purpose. But Apex they're gonna hate me because once I adjust, and I've already made the adjustment, now I just have to just move forward with it. Oh, they're gonna hate me. They're gonna hate seeing my name at that payout request. It's like, man, him again? Oh yeah, y'all. I paid a lot of money into y'all firm. Now it's time to get that money back. It's time to get that money back. Yeah, Alfred, definitely, man. Yeah, yeah. Well, I was just about to say that. Yeah, yeah. Shit, Alfred is shit coming with all the freaking information. Where was that orb at? 8:30 to about 8:45. That 15-minute orb is right there. And so you just waited for the break? Oh yeah, this is on the ES. I'm not well, okay, I'm not gonna do it. Let me see. Man, it's so tempting. Yo, the Nasdaq is a temptress. Yo. That's so crazy. She almost made me open up a chart. I'm like, nah, I'm not opening up no damn chart. And you ain't gonna get me. You're not getting me. We're not getting back together. Not until I get back on track. Of getting these payouts again. Because I keep gambling. Keep gambling instead of getting back on track and getting these payouts. All right, so this is what, so that's the 15-minute candle right here. So where did you get in at? Where did you get in at exactly, Alfred? You know, honestly, Alfred, dude, I've actually come to the same conclusion. I may actually stop buying these smaller accounts because, dude, all it takes is one mistake and that account is gone. That account is gone, man. One mistake. I mean, either you're trading micros and we're talking about 1 to 3 micros at the max. Those accounts can't handle like one mini. because it just takes one wrong turn and that's half the damn drawdown. That's half the account. But I will say for those that trade in the ES, do not fear because we have a support trend line. So we have a support trend line inside of a support trend line. So this is super bullish. I wouldn't short because it does look like the market wants to eventually get back and retest this trend line up here. It looks like it eventually wants to retest that high at 96, at least on the ES. But I do think that we'll probably get like a slight rejection probably from that area, but then a continuation. We do got CPI tomorrow, or not CPI, FOMC tomorrow. Same thing with ES, or same thing with Nasdaq. We got this trend line that is a beautiful objective for the bulls going up here. I think 320 to 325 may be the current objective for the bulls to get to 325. And then we could potentially see like a pullback, maybe retesting like 177, this little range right here. But this is a range that the bulls are going to have to get above though, for sure. Yeah, young million. Yeah, young millionaire. Yeah, I might just stop getting the 50Ks because yeah. And gold is, the price action on gold is predictable. It is very predictable. Oh shit, we're up. Oh well, yeah, I forgot. We're up 5K in the account, up 7K in the or 2K in the Apex account. So all in all, today we're like what a 7, almost 8K day today. Just taking good trades. And like I said last night, this shit is boring. But I guess it's supposed to be boring. I guess if you're having fun making money, you'll lose it. I guess, right? It's crazy. That's how you know Satan exists. That's how you know. That's how you know Satan exists. What other entity makes it to where if you're having a good time, you're probably in trouble. They say that what is it? The road to heaven is uncomfortable, but the road to hell is a beautiful thing. It's crazy that that contradiction even exists. Why is it that once we get comfortable, once we start enjoying our lives, once we start to when we're able to go outside and actually notice nature, birds singing, how the trees and flowers smell and all kind of shit like that, that's when all the negative stuff wants to happen. But then when you work hard and you have to be consistent and you have to do this, you have to do that, you have to make sure that this is right and that is right. That's the road to freaking heaven. Being uncomfortable all the damn time. Being in love with being uncomfortable. I have to be boring to make money on gold or ES or something. I have to patiently wait for it. I can't gamble and get the results I freaking want. Not consistently. You can gamble and get lucky, but then the house knows that if you gamble long enough, you'll give it all back. They even keep you there longer by giving you drinks, giving you free amenities. If you're a male or whatever, they put beautiful women around you. They get you comfortable. They get you to stay at that table because they know long enough. If you stay there long enough, you'll give it all back. You'll give it all back. When I went to Vegas with my brother, when I say that they was feeding him alcohol, I was like, bro, nah, relax. I had to tell the waitress, stop giving them fucking alcohol. They will feed you alcohol, man. And it's free. It is free. I don't know. If you're gambling in a casino, there's a beautiful woman with a tray of free alcohol. and they keep you sitting there at that table. And I was like, bro, no, she's not about to get you drunk like that. Why you gambling with money? Now, if you just want to lose this money, then that's cool. But you always got to have a sober. You got to have a designated gambler stopper when you in Las Vegas, because if everybody's drunk, shit, you'll wake up with no money. You tell them to give you water and a Red Bull. Yeah, that was feeding him alcohol. I was like, bro, relax. I don't play games that I can't or that I don't have control of winning. I don't play games that I have to rely on a slot machine. So I can go to Vegas and I'm okay with just making sure that my brothers ain't doing nothing stupid, or whoever I'm with, making sure they're not doing anything stupid, because I understand that these games, they allow you to win, but only enough to keep you playing. And and those jackpots happen here and there so people can come back and keep playing, so you can chase that dragon. Uh, the casinos understand psychology the same way that these prop firms understand psychology. If I go to if I go to Vegas, the only game that I would play would be blackjack. That's the only game that I would play, and I'm not yeah, the only game I'll play is blackjack. But then even then, I still wouldn't even feel comfortable playing that. And I appreciate that, young millionaire. That's actually the mindset, the behaviors that I want to kind of instill moving forward. I'm gonna be more responsible on stream and off stream. I'm gonna be more responsible in general, because, like I said, I really fell off track, and I don't like it. I don't like that. I haven't gotten a payout in so long. It feels abnormal, and kind of just like what everybody was kind of talking about earlier in the month, teaching their kids how to trade. Uh, I've come to the realization, well, not the realization, but like, my kids are they're almost adults, man. The kids are almost adults. I almost don't. I mean, they're. I got like 3 more years until they're legally adults, and I was like, huh. I need to hurry up and get back on this grind so I can have something to pass down. I don't want them to have the mindset that they have to go to college and blah 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 and hope for somebody else to give them a job. I should be the one to give them a job. Pass down a brand, or pass along a brand, because I'm not going to pass it down. Give them the skills so they can become entrepreneurs and build their own following and stuff like that. I need to have this shit down packed. And I've realized, or Father's Day made me really realize that shit. I was like, oh shit. Oh my God, my kids are like damn they're grown. Shit. I appreciate that, solo trades, but I am well into my 30s, man. I was planting seeds at a very young age. The one thing that I will say is that I'm kind of, mm, mm, I don't want to say this. I'm glad that my life didn't go the direction that it could have gone, because man, I could have totally ruined my life. But I've done enough to learn from my mistakes, so I can be able to relate to my kids and other people that's also gone through the same thing. But I haven't done enough to where it affected my future to where I couldn't do these things. I have a lot of life experience. Uh, I had to overcome a lot of stuff too. Mm. And I know that my kids don't have to go through the same thing. So, like I said, those things that I had to get over, I know the tools and the not necessarily the perfect way, but a more efficient way than I had to do it. A cleaner workflow of understanding emotions like the way that mainstream media is trying to force men to be in touch with their emotions. That's a very feminine way to do it. Breaking down. And I see I see the effects of that. Men are not meant to be in touch with our emotions. However, this is what I will say. To be a powerful leader, you have to empathize with the people around you. And that's how you have to be in touch with emotions, understanding how things affect other people emotionally and being able to work with that, if that makes sense. Kids, they're a cesspool of emotions. They have influences everywhere. They want to be accepted by whatever group they want to be accepted by. They have outside pressures to be successful. Now these kids are seeing other kids streaming, making money. So now that's an added pressure on them. And it's very easy for them to just become emotionally overwhelmed. And as a man, you need to be able to see that and help them work through all those emotions logically, understanding that some emotions are there and they don't serve a purpose, but you can utilize a lot of your emotions to where it serve a purpose and use those emotions as fuel because that's what they are, energy and motion, to help you achieve a goal. A lot of fighters use anger as fuel to get up and train. Like Mike Tyson's a great example. When he went through therapy and he went through the change, he doesn't have that fighting spirit in him no more. Now, I'm not saying that he's not someone that won't fight you, but you can tell that if he were to get into the ring, he don't have that same anger and drive. And that's what a lot of boxers use, that anger to fuel them to become champion. And it's usually the person with the most anger wins, right? But then you can kind of see that when that fuel, when it runs out, you can kind of see where it's like, okay, yeah, I'm a fighter, but it's not the same without it. And like I said, that's my opinion on when it comes to men and emotions, because I understand society would tell you that it's okay to cry, but if you cry in front of people that depend on you, you will see real quick that they will lose faith in you. And as a man, you don't want that. I think that's the worst feeling in the world, to have maybe your spouse or your kids look at you and they can't depend on you because they saw you break down and cry. Yeah. Kids are ruthless when it comes to that. Your spouse is ruthless when it comes to that. They'll be like, "Oh, it's okay," but deep down inside, they saw that you broke. They can't depend on you anymore. Not at the level that they previously did. So, as men, we know what we need to do. We know what's expected of us. And if we act outside of that expectation, then we should not be surprised with the response. We shouldn't be surprised. So, mm. Yep. Yeah, I definitely agree. Now, I mean, I've already shared this, but there was at one point in time where this is something that I wanted to do, kind of share my experience and be not necessarily similar to these quote unquote red pill content creators, because honestly, I feel that the way that they kind of teach how to interact with women is kind of it's fueled by a lot of hatred of women. I just have an understanding of how they operate. I feel that if you come from a perspective of what naturally moves them, because just like in trading, when you're mentally exhausted, the only thing that you have is how you mentally move or how you naturally move without logical or mental intervention. Women are hardwired for safety and security. They're hardwired for that. As long as as long as you're providing safety and security and you're not disappointing them, then you'll get the response from them because it's going to be natural. It's something that they don't have to even think about. Now, if you're sitting there crying, if you're sitting there complaining, if you're sitting there coming up with excuses, the constant disappointments and this and that, then you shouldn't be surprised of the response. That's who they are naturally. Us men, we're builders, we're providers. I mean, it's literally what men do naturally and what women do naturally. It like sex and reproduction and relationships should become natural, but because of how skewed society is and the misinformation that's out there, the dating scene has become so complicated that women are trying to tell men what they should be and vice versa. Me personally, I don't play games like that. Me personally, I know what I'm supposed to do. I do those things. I'm not going to act outside of that. I don't care what mainstream this or that says or how I should. No, no, no. That's just not what we're going to do. We're not going to celebrate Valentine's Day just because it's Valentine's Day. I understand it's Valentine's Day, so we'll do something, but we're not. Anyway, I'm not going to get into that. But kind of staying on point. All I know is that as long as I'm doing what I need to do, then my partner also will do what she needs to do. And as long as we do what we need to do and fulfill each other's needs, then this relationship will go on for as long as it should go on. I'm not particularly, and this is another thing, another mistake that men make is that um, when you go through the phones and you show insecurity, you can't, that fake it to make it crap, you can't play that game with women. You really can't, because the one thing that women are very in tune with is their emotions and the insecurities that they have. And regardless of what you believe, they have a lot of them. Women have a lot of insecurities that they deal with on a daily basis. And this is why, for the most part, they'll lie to each other and say, "Oh, you're beautiful. Oh, you look good, girl," blah, 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 blah. Because girls understand this. And that's a woman's world. And so when you show insecurity, they'll recognize it instantly because they go through that 24/7. And so that's why they're quick to be like, "Oh, you're acting sassy," or "Oh, you're acting like a female," or "Oh," or this or that, because that's what they go through 24 freaking 7, 24/7. And that's why the most thing that they search for is security. They seek attention to validate their egos. It's so simple. But like I said, society kind of makes that concept complicated. Going back to my original point, yeah, I just don't. I don't agree with. We shouldn't hate women. We should just understand them and understand what they want. And that's why men that understand this, your Chads, your Tyrones, your Pookies, Ray Ray, whatever terms that society want to give men that have it quote unquote easy with women, they just understand that. Oh, going back to my point, I kind of lost focus on this. The tit for tat thing that that's another mistake that I see a lot of men make too, is that if your significant other, man or woman or whatever, breaks the contract that you form together, there is no reconciliation. Like there is like kind of going back to what I was saying, when you go through somebody's phone, it just shows insecurity. But at the same time, if you see something that goes against what y'all guys agreed to, accepting anything less than that, that's another mistake because the message that you're sending is that this person is more important than your own self-respect. And like I said, it kind of falls back into the whole, if you don't respect yourself, then nobody's going to respect you. If you don't love yourself, nobody's not going to love you. If you love somebody more than you care about yourself, well, they're going to treat you like shit. They're going to treat you how you treat yourself. And you can go on social media and cry about it and talk about how it hurts your feelings and shit. But that's the reality of human nature. It's the reality of it. But let me get off my soapbox about that though. I feel that this is what I'm supposed to do. I'm glad that I found trading because I feel that this has everything packaged inside of it. All the emotions, all the self-improvement, and I'm where I'm supposed to be at. And this is something that, like I going back to what I talked about earlier, this is something that I want to pass down to my kids. Mm-mm. So they don't have to worry about clocking in on anybody else's dream. They have the tools to build their own dreams, and they can collaborate with other professionals instead of working under somebody. Mm. You know, honestly, a young millionaire, actually, people that I consider my brothers, they said the same thing. They went to Brazil and they came back to the United States, and it was a culture shock. They went overseas, and in their own words, all these beautiful women were approaching them. And he said that they got spoiled over there in Brazil. Said he had a good time over there. I will say that, I mean, I will agree that I will agree that social media has kind of changed the game a little bit for women here in the United States, but um That's another learnable moment right there. Right there. And this is why gold is such a beautiful instrument to trade. This is why I would have preferred to have traded gold during this bull Barbie. Honestly, I haven't even put on a trade in ES yet in that bull Barbie account. Honestly, I might not even trade it. I mean, I'll probably put on some for FOMC tomorrow, but I don't care to trade the ES. I prefer to just trade gold. I feel like I am now a full-time gold trader. I don't want to trade anything else. Gold is like the price action on gold is so beautiful. It's beautiful over here. As long as it stays like this, I mean, gold, I can be a full-time gold trader, but look at this breaker structure. That first test is the best test. You wait for the break, you wait for the retest, and look at this beautiful move down. Gold is such a beautiful instrument to trade once you understand price action. You see that it's in a downward trend. It's making lower low, lower highs, no manipulation, no waiting on news, no nothing. Gold literally moves from the time it opens until the time like around it closes around like 1 o'clock, I think, or it settles. Actually, let me ask what time does gold settles? What time? Yeah, so solo trades, if you're familiar with My Funded Futures, they have a live stream, and Bull Barbie, one of the um I guess I'll call her an anchor on the stream. She partnered with Ninja Trader 8, and they had there's a competition right now that's going on right now. 25K of simulated funds, and there's going to be prize money awarded to the top 3 traders. If I was trading gold, I've already would have been first place. During the night of that competition, we was already up 15K in gold. We was already up 15K in gold. We made 15K the first night. Right now, I'm up $4,600 in gold right now trading. Oh well, I was up 36 plus that ES trade, and then I'm up 2K in my Apex account trading gold. Gold is my instrument, but unfortunately, that competition only allows Nasdaq and ES, and honestly, I don't even care to trade that. I'm not trading the Nasdaq and ES. You kind of have to wait for the confirmation. So, show host, okay, yeah, show host, yeah. All right, thank you, I appreciate that. It says gold goes 23. Actually, let me ask. What? I mean, it's gonna move until close, but they have a settlement time, and that usually when gold tends to just chop. Or maybe that's just CL. I know CL settles. Hold on, let me see. Okay, so yeah, so it settles at 12:30 Central Time, and that's usually when gold starts to chop. Yeah, so it settles at 12:30. All that means is that the settlement price. So if it were to close at 333.99, it's going to still move, but I think a lot of people like to trade the settlement. And all these technical things that don't really mean nothing because the market is going to trade until it closes at 3 o'clock, or not 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock Central Time, but it settles at 12:30, and that's usually when we see the market tend to slow down a little bit. So about like around 12:30 is when it settles, but you can still see that it continues to trade. So it doesn't really mean anything. It's just like I guess one of those formalities, I guess. Maybe at one point in time it did stop trading at 12:30. I don't know. Hmm. Honestly, this actually would be a two-legged pullback. We have your one leg, and then you got your other leg right here. This could be a two-legged pullback right here. Isn't that interesting? Wow, isn't that interesting? Wow. Dang. Wow. Wow. Dang, isn't that interesting, dude? That's crazy. Hmm. Hmm. That's interesting. That is interesting. I wonder if we're going to get price to reject here at this value area low on gold. Wow, that is interesting. Huh. That's interesting. Pretty sure I'll probably come back up into this range right here. Pretty sure. Let me look at the higher time frame. Yeah, this is bullish. So I wouldn't get caught up in this short, but that's definitely bullish. I mean, it wouldn't be bearish until we get a break of this low under 655. It can get a close underneath this low. It would not be bearish. Honestly, it wouldn't be bearish until we get a close under this double bottom right here. Because that looks like this is a big move up. So we got a big move up and we got a pullback, and we just made a higher low. So until we get a break of this trend line and a pullback and the bears hold that retest, this is highly likely to continue to go to the upside. Highly likely, not concern, not a confirmation, obviously, but it's highly likely based on the technicals and structure that this is going to go up further, unless we get a random news alert about Iran or Trump or something like that. I believe that's the only thing that would break price out of that is the only thing that would break price out of structure. All right, so we'll see if they hold this trend line right here. We'll see. But I do expect for the bulls to push right back up into it though. We still got this one rising trend line from earlier though. We still got this rising trend line right here. And then we got this one. So right now price is in this little triangle right now. And I think we'll get a lot of manipulation in this area right here. So the bears are going to have to hold this trend line. They're going to have to break this trend line, and then they're going to have to hold. That doesn't sound like a bear to me. They might get that first trend line touch, but I think it's going to probably bounce that VWAP. Honestly, what I probably could do here, I probably could do is actually put on another position here at VWAP at that trend line. That's what I could do here. Yeah, that 138. I think that's I mean it might not even might not touch it the first time, but I mean I guess we could. I mean that's technically that's the high right there. Technically. But then at the same time, from top to bottom. And that's probably more likely to happen. Hmm. Nah, that's not likely to happen. Hmm. Well, we got the break of the range. We got the first test of the range. Well, I guess I could just kind of see what area. I mean, I don't think. I mean, if it comes back to this area, I do think that we can potentially get a pullback, but I don't think that the market wants to go down anymore. Yeah, we got to bounce at kind of front raining a little bit, but it's going to probably want to retest the top of this trend line on gold. 412. Yeah, it's going to probably, you know what? Shit, why not? 412, probably like 49 or something like that. Kind of front run that a little bit. If we can kind of get a buyer's failure right here, the buyer's pulling back to the EMAs and they're failing to push it off of that EMA, you can kind of take like a quick move going down though. But I'm gonna actually stop trading that way. I'm gonna just kind of move towards kind of trading with the overall momentum instead of trying to fight it. All right, so it tagged me in, and it's not a surprise. This right here is not a surprise. It literally bounced right at that trend line. That's not a surprise at all. It's not. And I think this is another good learning experience and why I don't ever move my stop to break even because look at where it came back. It touched my break even again. This trade is still viable as long as it doesn't break and hold that trend line. It's still a valuable trade. Even if it misses my target and pulls back to my break even, it's still a liable trade until it proves to me that it's not. And that's by breaking and holding underneath that trend line. Abort, abort. We've been discovered. Abort, abort, abort. Mm. Honestly, I wonder what's really holding the market up. I understand we have FOMC tomorrow, but what's holding the market up right now? What's holding the market up right now? Yeah, there's definitely a lot, man. Shoot, tomorrow's definitely gonna be. Not only do we have a bunch of news tomorrow, but the stock market is going to be closed on Thursday. Yep, FOMC, the conference is tomorrow. Honestly, I wonder like, I still don't get why Powell is not cooperating with the Trump administration. I don't know why. It was willing to cut rates if Harris was going to be president. But all of a sudden now he's changed his tune now that Trump is. I mean, mm, 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 mm. Well, let me look at it. Mm. Maybe not. Maybe. All right. So at least on, okay. At least on gold, I think that was a big recovery right here on gold. I think if not 409, then probably 412 well, actually, excuse me. I would kind of wait for the confirmation at these levels. I mean, I'm in the sim, so that's kind of why I just set the limit there. But kind of wait for a confirmation because we did get a big drop. We did take a lot of liquidity out here on gold underneath these lows right here. So there was a lot of buy stops. Or I'm sorry, sell stops that got hit. and then it turned around and it took out the buy stops. So this was a lot of selling, and a lot of buy stops got hit. So we could see a move back up here. We'll see. We'll see. But this should be a surprise to nobody. We're back above, and this is why I'm just glad that this stream is definitely a stream of a lot of education is in this stream today, because a lot of the stuff that I talk about is being showcased. My triangles, circles, and squares. That is, I mean, we got this rising support trend line, and we have this one, and look at what happens in this little area. We got the little manipulation back down to the bottom of this trend line right here, and then they pushed it right back above this one. We even added to the position down here and was able to now be back up $1,800. So that's why it's so important to just make sure and be aware of market structure and where your trend lines and your chart geometry is on the chart, because they do work intraday, and they do work long term. Yes, Santiago. Yes, I've listened to what is it? The Monster on Jekyll Island, The Lords of Easy Money, $1 Trillion Triage, and whatever that other one was. So I'm very familiar with what the function of the Fed is. Very familiar. But the one thing is very clear, that the president, or every president that's worked with the Fed chair, has gotten rid of the ones that did not work with him. Greenspan is the longest standing Fed chair up to date, and he got there, and he was allowed to have such a long term because he played the game correctly. You kind of have to kiss that ring. Yeah, they don't have to answer to the president. Yeah, there are a bunch of oligarchs controlling the monetary policy of the United States. But the president can reappoint you and give your position to somebody else. You're gonna have to play that game. Jerome Powell's is up for re-election next year, to be reappointed next year. And this is Trump's administration. So it's interesting that he's going so hard against him. And as I continuously say, he was willing to cut rates when it was Harris, when it was inflation was everywhere. He wasn't worried about inflation when they was throwing out fake reports. They were manipulating the market. We would get pumps on incorrect or inaccurate data, and then we would get the dumps on the revised data. The job number fraud was obviously revealed, and inflation was super high, and yet he was willing to cut rates. And for whatever reason, now he's changing his tune. And if I'm Trump, I see that. I see that as I see that as a personal shot. At least just me personally. And I would probably say the same thing. I mean, we don't tolerate Powell slander at all, because we all know that Powell pump has paid a lot of people, has changed a lot of people's lives, that Powell pump. So we don't tolerate the Powell slander. But from Trump's perspective, yeah, I can understand how he feels, for sure. I can understand how he feels. And that's why that tax bill is a big deal. That tax bill allows Trump's administration to not rely on Powell cutting rates. That's what that Trump, or at least that's how it's being marketed. Obviously, I don't have a copy of the full documentation. I have read none of it, and I don't plan on reading any of it. The only thing that I can say is the intended purpose of it. Don't know if it actually will do it, though. But that was the whole point of that tax bill. So they don't have to necessarily rely on Powell to cut rates to stimulate the economy. No, Santiago. I'll look into that. That'll probably be something that I'll watch this weekend. It'll be something that I'll watch this weekend. Definitely made more money. Well, no, I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that. That's not what that bill's intended for. Just to cut taxes to stimulate the economy because Powell is unwilling to cut rates. So it's just a circumvention of existing structure. That's all it is. And I will say that Trump is his actions can be perceived of him being a dictator king. I can understand that. That is a valid argument based on his actions. But uh, it's his administration, so I mean, you really can't do anything about it except accept it. And the only thing you can do is when it's time to vote, go out there and vote. If you don't like what Trump is doing, go out there and vote for it, and vote for the opposite party. That's all we can do. I know that people didn't like the fact that they had a military parade on his birthday. I know that. Honestly, I don't even care. Like I said, I'm not necessarily big into politics. I understand that it's a tool used to divide people, to make people choose to be on one side or the other. So I don't get into politics past the point of how it's going to affect the market, and that's how first target hit, and that's how I see the markets, and that's only going to be my opinions of politics. Because outside of trading these markets, I don't care for politics. In my day-to-day life, politics, actually, let me rephrase that. Um, for the most part, it doesn't. But a lot of people was affected by Doge earlier on. I do want to acknowledge that a lot of people was affected. Um, a lot of the team members that a lot of my team members almost got put on hold because of Doge. So I have to kind of uh, speak correctly on that. But outside of that, politics doesn't have any influence. I don't care. I will always listen to people's opinions about things. But what I won't do is adhere to whatever craziness, like the whole boys can be girls bullshit. You can miss me all the way with that. I can understand when you're an adult, you can live your life however you want to live it. It's your prerogative. But children, they shouldn't be indoctrinated or groomed to be a certain way. I do not believe in that. A boy should not be growing up thinking that they're girls and vice versa. I do not agree with that. And but if that's a choice, that if these children grow up and make that choice on their own, this is their fucking life. No one cares, or at least no one should care. So outside of that, I ain't trying to listen to none of that shit at all. I'm not going to do the pronoun things with nobody. At work, the only thing that I will do is that whole their crap. I will do that because I mean, at the end of the day, it's not even a big deal. I will use their. But outside of that, no, I'm not gonna. No, no. I'll call you by your name. That's the only compromise. No, I'll call you by your name. I'm not doing that crap. Because what that doing is, if you want me to um, take away my belief and adhere to your belief, then you're doing the same thing that you're accusing other people of doing. It's a contradiction, and we all know it's a contradiction. When you try to use somebody's job or livelihood and dangle that and say, if you don't listen to me, I'm going to take this away from you, you're just being a bully. And I'm not going to be bullied by anybody. You're not going to bully me. I'll respect who you are, but you don't project that shit onto me. That's all I'm going to say on that. Yeah, so if you're an ES trader, make sure that you have these Camarilla pivot points on your chart, because this indicator was made specifically for ES. A lot of the indicators were made specifically for ES. So that's a good indicator to have on your chart. It's called the Camarilla pivots right here. Camarilla pivots. I mean, it works sometimes on the Nasdaq. You can see that the Nasdaq also reacted at these pivot points. It rejected at S1. They're really good. I'm not going to sit there and say that they're not. They're really good. But this indicator is made specifically for ES though. So it's kind of like a cheat code for ES. Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, that's exactly right, Solo Trades. That's exactly right. I always say that this stream is not a safe place for your feelings. We're here to make money. And we're going to talk about Trump. I understand that he elicits strong emotions in a lot of people, but unfortunately, he influences the money that we can make on these charts. So we're going to talk about him. And if Harris was the president, we would talk about her incompetent ass too. And Harris was incompetent. And it would have been damning for the United States if she was actually chosen to be president. We're not going to just vote for her because she's a woman, but you can be a woman and competent at the same time. All right, so let's see if we can get back above this support trend line right here. I think we do. I think we do. I think we do. But all in all, we had a lot of good trades today, man. We had a lot of good trades. We're up 6K in the account. It kind of does look like, well, we did see a small rejection from this range, and we could potentially see gold go down a little bit further, potentially. We could. But this will kind of, taking this trade would kind of be against the trend. This would have been a great area to take profits, but not necessarily start a position in this area, because we can definitely see this thing go up a little bit higher. But I mean, it could continue to go down though. Not saying that it can't. Not saying that it can't. All right, so we'll see what the Bears do here. Let's see what they do. Remember, as long as they don't break below that low, it's not bearish. As long as you don't break that trend line, it's not bearish. We would need a break, and shorting that pullback will be the money move, will be the money trade for the move down. Because the reason why you would want to wait for that break is because not only do we got stops coming down like this, but then we also have stops coming down like that too. So we could potentially see maybe a break and then a move down. But what most likely is going to happen is a break, a pullback somewhere. And then that's the money trade using all these stops to fuel the market low and potentially breaking that low right there. So, and what I probably will do is I kind of want to have the three targets, but I have and like in situations where like only the first target is getting hit, and then we're seeing that pullback, I kind of have to come up with a strategy on how to effectively compromise between situations where we are going to get price to come up and then pull back, and then situations where we're going to see price continue to go. I do think that we will see a bullish continuation, but I think we're going to have to be patient for it. I think the market looks like it wants to get ready to start consolidate, chopping to the right, trading to the right here before we see a breakout higher or lower. We already know where to look for the bearish break, but the bull break is going to probably be this little range, this consolidation right here, where we had price go above the range and then break down below it. Hey, what's up, Ben? I use NinjaTrader 8. If you're referring to this side of my chart is actually Top Step X. I pay for their level 2 data. I like how their DOM is set up. So uh, I just have the DOM and the time and sales on the right for Top Step X, but I trade on NinjaTrader 8. Hope that helps. NinjaTrader 8 is dominant. I don't like it. That shit sucks. I don't like how it looks. Yeah, no problem. I don't like how it looks. Yeah, I think that's actually what's probably happening because, well, it's highly likely. I got to make sure I'm using the correct language. Yeah, because we've seen this price action before. We're seeing a lot of aggression from the bears, but we're not seeing follow through. When we don't see the follow through, that's when you know that okay, the buy stops are just collecting above the highs, and all the bulls got to do is get bears, let them trap themselves, make that move higher, and then we can use their stops to fuel the market higher. Now the bears can break this. I'm not saying that they're not that they can't, but the overall structure is bullish, so it's highly unlikely. If we just zoom out a little bit, we can see it. The overall structure is bullish. We have a double bottom right here where the bears failed to hold underneath this support trend line. So we got this rising trend line, the support trend line going up. We have the bears breaking through the trend line. They tried to reject it twice, and both times they failed, and price is now trending on top of the support trend line. So the bears have a lot of work to do. Not only do they have to break through all this bullish structure, they have to hold. The only thing the bulls got to do is keep buying the dips. So it's highly likely that the bulls will see a continuation here, but we can't sit here and say that the bears won't be able to break through it. We have to give them the benefit of the doubt at least. At least. But it's highly likely we'll see a bullish continuation. So when it comes to the ES, I find that DOM is really good for the ES. The reason why I say the DOM is really good for the ES is because you see the liquidity on the DOM on the ES. And I've used these levels personally, and it works to the T. When I was a Nasdaq trader coming from the Nasdaq going to the ES, when I looked at the DOM and saw that the orders was here for me to see, I was like, no way. No way that is this easy, because this is what the Nasdaq looks like on the DOM. This is what the Nasdaq looks like. You can see that it's light. You have areas where, I mean, you can kind of see that there's a lot of selling pressure at these higher levels, but usually the DOM is light. But then you go over to the ES and you see all this liquidity in areas where it's like, oh yeah, this is support or that's resistance. And the market reacts at these levels. Time and sales are good too, but I use the time and sales to kind of keep an eye on the price of gold. So I do use it, but I won't be taking trades based off it, if that makes sense. The DOM will kind of give confluence to the trades that I'm already going to take. It's not going to be, oh, I see there's liquidity at 674. Let me buy it or let me short it. I'm not going to do it. We got a rejection at 680. Let's look at the liquidity at 680. Yeah, look at all that liquidity at 680. It's not a surprise we got a rejection from that area. It's not a surprise. We have a wall at 666 right here. And look how many times that the market has bounced from this area. You can see all that liquidity in this area right here on the DOM. So for the ES, it's definitely accurate. But for gold and NASDAQ, I just don't see a purpose for it. This is what gold looks like. And that's not telling you nothing. That's not telling you anything. So ES is what I would use the DOM for. Outside of ES, no. So you're looking for a short around 940, and I'm pretty sure that's your 50 area. Yeah, I believe that if then scenario is definitely probably the best way to trade. And if I get stopped out of this, man, it's not a big deal. We made, even though I'm leaving 24 contracts on the table here, if I get stopped out of this, I mean, we still had 2 good trades. We're still up about $5,000-$6,000 in this account. Yeah, so it's not. Man, okay. Yeah, I should have probably taken. Well, okay. Let's see, 7. Okay, so this is 10 points on gold. This is actually a good, decent pullback. Maybe I should have taken this short on gold. Maybe I should have taken it on gold. My apologies, everybody. I should have taken it. I should have took it. I'm apologizing because, well, maybe I'm mostly apologizing to myself because I hate when I kind of do this. I hate when I say, you know what, this looks like a good area to short, and then I say, you know what, I'm gonna wait for higher, and this was a great area to short. It was at a range. We had a break of structure. It pulled back to this range, and we're seeing them sell the retest. That was a good trade, and that's why I'm apologizing. That was a good trade. I should have taken it. I should have been more confident in it. Okay. But all right, guys, I'm out of time for this session. I got to get ready for this meeting. We definitely had a great insightful session today. I think a lot of things that were said are very helpful. We had some good trades, some deep conversations, all that. So I think today was a really good session. It's okay. I mean, if I get stopped out of this, it's okay. It's okay. This is still a good trade. Or it was a good trade. It just didn't hit on my targets, unfortunately, if I get stopped out of this. So, But all right, guys, that's it for me. We'll definitely come back later on tonight and we'll look for more opportunities to earn some more money. And with that said, peace out, everybody.